Let's start with the polling data. What do we see? Donald Trump is actually faring far better and continues to fare far better. Fantastic, fantastic graphic. I'm going to bring this next week to show you from Financial Times, where you start to see how the Republican Party is gaining more and more, specifically black men, since Trump. Because they're like, yeah, heck, this isn't working for me. And the system's not working for them. Because when you keep repeating the same mistakes and you keep getting the same people in charge, and you get the Lori Lightfoots out there like they had in Chicago, where nobody ever needs to go back to school because she's kowtowing to the teachers union, you're going to continue to have problems. When you get cities like Baltimore and what you see in poor communities in LA with the same leadership that does the same stupid stuff, yeah, you know what? You're going to continue to have problems. It's one of the reasons why I'm such a big supporter of school choice, for example, so that there's a pathway out for families and kids that want to access more. I'll tell you a quick shout out for my friends over at Job Creators Network, because they are all about this. I was just talking with Alfredo the other day, and we were talking about the importance of school choice. They have a whole program set up around this to push this narrative. And they've got various governors from various states involved. You guys should check them out. Job Creators Network. It's joinjcn.com. Joinjcn.com. I encourage you to go there and just peruse the site. Sign up, because it costs you nothing, and they'll do a wonderful job at helping you connect with your community and help you to really ensure that the ideals that you hold dear as an American are really being carried out at a local level in your community. I mean, one of these things obviously is the school voucher program, but this is the problem here in America. In other words, if you don't have that real path to meritocracy, because you get bureaucrats in the way that want to continue to be in the way. And believe me, the mentality of these people is that they want to stay in the way, because otherwise, if they fix the problem, what do they have to solve? Barack Obama has nothing to do. Joe Biden has nothing to do, unless he can continue to tell you that the only reason you have not succeeded is because of the color of your skin. And so I think that the O.J. Simpson thing brings back a lot of certainly bad memories for a lot of people. A lot of bad memories. But the reality is still this. It's not going to work. You're not going to be able to play the race card. Not as well as you have in the past anyway, because I think people are waking up to a reality that is very, very different in this world. A reality that is about how we as Americans, as individuals, succeed, and thus the nation succeeds. This is what we're seeing. Hey, down in other than the Chick-fil-A in Georgia. Remember I showed you this video yesterday of the woman who was just singing Trump's praises? Young woman down there in Georgia at the Chick-fil-A. He bought milkshakes for everyone. I was laughing my head off. I was like, can you imagine Joe Biden doing that? Because no. He hoards his ice cream, licks it, keeps it all to himself, right? And Trump's out there buying milkshakes for everyone. Take a look at this tape. Do we have, Drew? I don't know if we have yesterday's tape. I do know we have an interview with her. If we have yesterday's tape, great. Yeah, just take a look at this, guys, because you should watch.
Come here, let me give you a hug.
Yeah, so it's really quite something. He gave her a big, big hug there. And she said, look, no matter what the media says, don't believe it. We love you, Mr. Trump. And what she's meaning here is the media is saying, we think this, but in reality, we think something entirely different. This doesn't surprise me. Again, when I travel around the country and I meet all kinds of different people, I hear a very similar thing. I mean, they say it usually pretty quietly. Let's go to this woman's interview. She was on Fox News this morning, and she spoke out about that moment, which was pretty darn special to her. Take a listen.
I am so glad that is the first question you asked me. Mm-hmm. So, of course, in the excitement of everything, I wasn't able to really relay my message, but the general consensus or social media would have you thinking that if President Trump were to show up to the HBCU campuses or walk around the ABC community, that some angry mob would form or a riot would ensue and that he would not be welcomed. And clearly the sentiment in that room the other day was the complete opposite. He was very welcome. People were excited to see him. People showed up. in support of him. And people, of course, were from all four institutions within the AUC, the local HBCU community in Atlanta, and they all showed up in support of him. So it's actually kind of crazy to see people in an uproar when all four institutions were legitimately represented, and all four institutions were represented by said students who wanted to support President Trump.
You know, Michaela,
And I really appreciate that we were able to not only let him know that regardless of what social media says, you know, I know they're trying to make us think we're supposed to hate you, but we don't. And additionally, it was a learning experience for my students because they were able to see and experience firsthand how the media can warp the perception of an opinion or a person. Because, like I said, to think that these students who attend these illustrious institutions aren't smart enough to make their own decisions,
That's
so
right.
much so that they would only show support for Trump because he bought chicken sandwiches and milkshakes.
It's offensive.
That in itself is the most disturbing part of it all, especially when you think about the fact that it was mainly urban media outlets that were doing everything in their power to turn other black people against these young black kids who simply were not shy to explore other options.
It's so incredible, and I think you hit it on the head. By the way, the former president, gave a lot of funding to HBCUs. One of the highlights of my
So
childhood
that's,
was
I
my
mean,
HBCU.
that's just a great clip, I think, and speaks volumes. Granted, just a tiny little anecdote. I know it's small, but you see this same sentiment being reflected in the polls right now. And so, in other words, don't let other people speak for you. Have your own opinions and your own ideas.